Fellowshippers, what up? This is your boy Big Ham, aka the smartest one in the room, aka Ralph. Welcome to the Fellowship Hall. The twins are Ralph, and I'm back with my fellas, twin number one Keith and twin number two Ken. Fellas, go ahead, introduce yourselves to the fellowship.
What's up, fellowship? It's your boy Ken, aka Man Out. Thanks for tuning in with us today.
What's up, fellowshippers? It's your boy Keetrick, the moderator. You know me, I know you. Let's go ahead and get it popping with Insecure episode 2 of the last season. Big Ham, go ahead and get us started. What you think about this last episode?
Man, they need to hurry up and come on with it, bro.
Oh man, come on now.
I thought it was another boring episode. It's 2 boring episodes in a row. And as I was watching this, like 8 minutes in, I'm like, maybe they're right. Like maybe they're right to end it now. Because it just moved a little too slow. You know, they did a time jump.
Yeah.
Which when I was watching the trailer, I was thinking the time jump had already happened because you know we saw Condola with the baby in the trailer. But they did a time jump, which was which I don't really know how I feel about it, but if it's gonna help us get to the meat of the story, then cool. We saw that throughout this time jump that Issa and Molly have rekindled their relationship, which was nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
They back to childhood friends, like almost where they're sleeping in the same bed and all that. So they got their relationship back to where it needs to be. It's good to see that Issa has the block continuing to rise. So they're doing good. Issa's assistant Koya is another piece of comic relief for me as well. But she always on point though. But it's always funny when she was talking about her mom and her daddy smashing.
My roommates.
They cracked me up. They cracked me up. But not too much happened in this episode to me that really pushes the story forward. Other than we see that Issa's company is coming around. We saw that Issa and Molly has mended their relationship and got back to where they were pre-Insecure. And the last thing was that we saw that Issa is still not over Lawrence. Like, it's been a year. She got ready to kiss Nathan and start crying. It's out the blue for no reason. And it had to be because she hasn't fully dealt with her feelings for Lawrence. And so, like,
now remember last week we said this is all Issa's own doing because she had got back with Lawrence. She got back with Lawrence. You know what I mean?
It is. It still is all her own doing, which is why it's still hard for her to get over it. Like, that's why it's so hard for her to get over it. That's why it's been a year, bro. It's been over a year. She hasn't been dating anyone in that time. We are to believe her and Bob Molly both have put off dating, been working on themselves. And now, she finally had a little rough time, like she wanted to have a drink and kind of get some stress relief, and have what I would assume to be some casual sex with Nathan, and she couldn't do it. Like she started crying out of nowhere, surprised herself with the cry, and said she's not ready. So I think that was the biggest thing to take away from this episode. But I thought it was an extremely slow episode, man. I think it's been 2 kind of slow episodes, just kind of filling it out, trying to get the story together. Well, I'm so used to Insecure and the mess. And I kind of want to get to Insecure and the mess now, And even though it's good to see Molly and Issa both being better, it's kind of that Mary J. Blige effect right now. You know how they say Mary J's best songs or albums when she's sad. Like, we don't want to hear no happy J. So we don't want to see Issa and Molly being like all crazy responsible. We need to see them back to being their messy selves for us to be entertained. It's good to see them come up, but these first 2 episodes of this season, this very much anticipated season, has me feeling like the moral compass right now. I changed my name to Ken. That's how I'm feeling. It's been boring watching. So, and I don't know if me watching it late night, is the reason. I don't know if I need to wait till Monday morning to watch it or what, but watching it late Sunday night and expecting something and kind of getting what I feel like is a bit of a dud, it's been kind of disappointing for me.
All right, Ken, go ahead, chime in. What you think?
I thought this episode was terrible. I'm sorry.
Mm.
I'm not even trying to be mean or trying to be harsh or make y'all laugh or throw shade or whatever, man, or troll or nothing. I thought it was a horrible episode. Um, I didn't even realize it was a time jump. That's how maybe disconnected I'm from the show, man. Because I don't.
It
When you
said
said
it
it,
said a it said a year time jump in the
I
It,
show.
must
it
I must
said
have
it in
missed
broad
it.
white letters.
I
Yeah.
must have missed it or not paid attention, but it was terrible, man. Like just terrible. It was hard to watch. Like the last week episode, I was pretty hard on it, but at least it kept me entertained and engaged the entire show, man. This show was
Last week was
boring.
better. Last
It
week
was
episode for
just
sure was better.
Issa trying to do this stuff with Crenshaw, who told her flip the script on her, after she got in agreed to what the network team or whatever wanted. And then Molly, thinking she's, well, I don't know, maybe she just wasn't attracted to the dude that we call him Deacon, the
Mm-hmm.
Deacon rather.
The
She just
Deacon,
wasn't
yeah.
attracted to him or whatever. So it was a terrible episode, man. And I'm sorry. That's all I got to say. It was bad, real bad,
Ouch.
man, real
Okay,
bad.
well then I guess we won't hold it in much longer. I'll go ahead and give you my reaction. I thought it wasn't a good episode. I'll be honest. I was with Big Ham, and ultimately with the moral compass because I was like, man, this episode is not good.
It was
It's like
dry,
is this what
weak,
Kendrick
man.
was talking about? I didn't see it last week, but this week I saw it. I mean, it did have some bright spots. I still like I'm happy that Issa and Molly are back friendly. But like Ralph said something that kind of makes sense, but I disagree with it, and I'll tell you. He said that he likes it where it's the Issa Molly mess. So I don't necessarily like it when it's Issa Molly mess, but it's Molly mess and Issa and her still tight, or Issa mess and Molly and her still tight. So I'm still cool with that. So I mean, I'm okay if Molly and Issa happy, but like you said, I think the show is a little bit more entertaining when it's some kind of mess going on. And this last show did have some mess because clearly, Crenshaw was out of pocket for what he did. Yep, yep, he was out of pocket for what he did. Like I feel like that in the yeah. I mean,
We
you
probably
kind of
can
feel like
debate that, man. There's probably
yeah,
something we can debate later.
we can debate it. Like you feel like, oh, respect this guy that he stuck by his guns, or not literal guns, but he stuck by his art, and he went with it. But at the same time, he had an agreement with Issa, and he
Yeah.
told her that they were good, and he was gonna do that. And then he went back on his word with her. So I respect you for standing by your I guess your art, your artistic value or view or whatever. But I don't respect you for lying to Issa. And that's the thing, that Issa went to bat for him hard, like hard, so much that she went above the dude and almost got in trouble for kind of looking like she was trying to go over his head. And she went to bat for him, and then he just kind of like threw it in her face and did what he wanted to do. So I thought
But
that
it
was
worked.
hard.
But it
Hard.
worked,
It
and it
worked.
elevated him and her.
Yeah, but it don't always work
It
though.
ain't
That's the
guaranteed to
thing.
work,
Yeah,
though. It
it
wasn't
don't
That's
always
guaranteed to
work,
true.
work.
and that's the thing that and this was so. I know this wasn't a great show, but at the same time, art imitates life, and I feel like that this happens sometimes. Black people go for each other and go out on a limb for each other, and then sometimes you get smacked in the face or stabbed in the back. So it worked this time, but so many other times it doesn't work. But nevertheless, it's a TV
But it's
show,
not
so
just
it is
black
what it
people.
is.
It's
It's
not
not
just
just
black.
black people, but I'm talking about black people from a point of view of another black person. But I thought it was an okay show. I feel like
Yeah.
that. Listen, there was some funny points, that makes you like Insecure, like when Molly showed Issa a picture of the deacon, and, Issa was like, his dad is cute, show me him. And then
Show me
Molly
up.
did move, show me him. And so that was funny. That was probably the only time I actually laughed in
Right.
the show. My boy Lawrence wasn't on the show, so that was a downer for me. I gotta see my Lawrence Issa connection. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great show. It wasn't like unbearable, but it wasn't good. So Fellowship was going to the comments and let us know what you thought about it. We heard some feedback from some people that Ken was out of order for not liking this show, but I think we all agree this week that this show wasn't this episode wasn't up to the standards that we
Ken is
expect
ahead
from
of his
Insecure.
time. That's what it
I don't know
is.
about
No, no,
that.
no, 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 no. Kids said the whole show was just okay. He didn't say it. He didn't say the whole episode. He said the whole show.
He
He
just
said
said
the
the
whole
show.
show basically was blah.
Yeah, this
It's trending
episode
their
for
way.
sure was blah.
It's trending their way.
Yeah. But
Man,
make sure you let us know what you think,
if I
fellowshippers.
know it's gonna pick up, but
It should pick
the
up, yeah.
trailer for next week seems to be Lawrence and Lawrence only,
Yeah.
and I'm afraid it might be another dud, bro.
But remember, I can't remember if it was the second season or the third season, but they had some Lawrence focused shows, and they were okay. Whatever his funny friend name is,
Chad.
I can't remember. Huh?
Chad,
Chad.
Chad helped carry the show when Lawrence
Chad
was in
keeps it
it.
moving.
Remember when
Yep.
Chad was in the church? You cried.
I changed so far.
But anyway, so I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt next week and see what happens. Hopefully Lawrence can bring it back. All right, bro. Go ahead and introduce this next new segment that we got. I mean, it's new for us, but last week we did it too.
All right, so for Insecure season 5, we're not going to do a Gots to Go. We don't think anybody needs to be off in order to save a criminal protagonist in the show. We're not going to do a love, hate, or meh because, well, it depends on episode, but for these particular episodes, we only have so many characters available. So we're just going to take an MVP of each episode. A person that we thought stood out in Sign's episode and made some good points or came across really well. And so for this segment, we're going to pick our Insecure season 5 episode 2 MVP.
Okay. Ken, you want well, if you can find one, Ken, what's your MVP?
You sure you guys want to start with me?
Yeah, we're gonna start with you. We're gonna set the bar low and then rise up.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So my MVP for this week's episodes were the ending credits. That was my MVP.
That's pathetic, man.
I'm dead serious, man. That's my MVP. The ending credits, man. That's how
We
bad the
go
show
again.
was, man.
Get out of pocket. He wild.
The moral compass never follows the rules, man. I thought that was what
Man,
your
I'm
whole
telling
thing was
you.
supposed to.
I'm telling you,
Hey,
man.
man, you got to
I'm
let
odd
him
man
have
out.
his MVP.
What Ralph said?
What you said, right?
Let him have his MVP, bro.
Man,
Yeah,
that's
I
my
guess.
MVP. The ending credits for this week, man. This show was horrible, man. I'm sorry,
All
it
right.
was bad.
Okay.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. MVP.
All right.
The scroller like at the bottom of my screen, the ticker. That's what I was waiting for.
Okay. All right, Big Ham. I'm gonna go ahead and go next since it's your segment, basically. My MVP for this episode. It was kind of hard, like Ken said, but of course I came up with an MVP, and I think that the fellowship is gonna agree with me this week. The MVP for this week was Issa for me, and the crying I almost took it from her, but I'm going to ignore the crying and say that Issa was the MVP because the way she handled the Crenshaw situation was real. She was upset about it. She talked to Molly about it. She was about to apologize to her boss, and then thankfully he talked first. And she just went with it, but she didn't like overhype it like she was all about it. She just kind of like, oh yeah. So I thought that was real. So Issa was my MVP for the way she dealt with the Krishan thing. I felt like that the way she dealt with it, or the way she got blindsided by it, was truly a real reaction that somebody in a professional world would get when they trying to do something for you and going out on a limb. So Issa was my MVP. The way she handled it, the way she reacted, which was a real reaction. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Issa.
Issa, that was my MVP, but another thing to piggyback off of you picking Issa for MVP was her networking. Did you peep that the owner of NBW
was a
girl that was on the panel with her at Stanford?
At Stanford, yep.
Yeah, so that was good networking by Issa to be able to hook that up. So that was cool.
You know what? Before you finish, Rap, that's a great point to bring up because I meant to bring it up in my reaction that Issa networked and got in touch with the girl from the panel. But the thing is, Issa was real on that panel, even though she kind of got made fun of. She was real, especially at the end. And I saw that girl that she ended up working with connected with something she said, and she kind of like nodded. So I thought that was cool, and that was a good point to bring back up, Ralph, because I meant to bring it up earlier. But yeah, that was a good point. That was a
great point because I didn't even catch it. That's how disconnected I am, man. I'm not even trying to be funny, man. I ain't catch it until you just realize it, man. It's like,
are you serious, man? You didn't catch that was the girl from the panel? We 2 episodes in, man, not 9.
I know, man. I'm telling you, it's tough for me, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, man. But
So
I'm sitting here listening to you guys talk like I'm watching a podcast on TV, man. It's like
yeah,
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch
yeah.
that.
Big Ham,
The show ain't doing it for
Hey,
me, man. I'm sorry.
Big
hey,
Ham. We
man. So
auditioning. We auditioning for a third slot on the Insecure Fellowship Hall. You can come back when we do the other
send your
shows,
t-shirt
but for
size.
Insecure. All jokes aside, more comments. Get better. Ralph, your MVP.
I mean, that's it, man. This kind of indictment on the show, man. But I guess you and I, we love it so much we would catch it. But now that leaves me wonder if she might do some collaboration with the other people that was on the panel as well. So you probably
Yeah,
keep an eye out for that. Cause they
yeah.
always throw an Easter egg out
Mm-hmm.
each season, so it might be
Yeah.
one. But my MVP was not Issa. My MVP was Chris Arn. Um, and I understand what you said. I understand what you said, Kendrick, about him agreeing to do something and then reneging on it. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing about it, he was talking about art imitate life. That
Yeah.
stuff happens all the time in real life.
Doesn't
Doesn't
make
It
it
make it
happens
right.
right
all the
though, man.
time,
It doesn't make
and
it right though.
it doesn't make it right. But it was his shot, and just like Issa said, if it's a hit, y'all gonna be the ones that say that y'all discovered him.
That's right.
And then what he did, he stuck to his guns, and it ended up working. They ended up loving it. They ended up really having his mind blown about it, want to do more work with him. On top of, if you look at the stuff they wanted to cut, it wasn't really that bad. Like low rider bikes, you want to
Low
cut
rider
low rider
bicycle.
bikes. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really, that bad. I think probably the biggest thing they wanted to cut were the drummers that probably, was a little more shocking, but it worked. He bet on himself.
He
He
did.
bet on himself. He went on ahead and did his thing. And if it didn't work, he could go out saying, well, at least I did it my way. And if
Okay.
it did work, he could say, I did it my way, and it popped off. So you got to give him credit for
I
that,
bet on
even though it
myself.
wasn't the most professional thing to do. You got to give him credit for doing that. And in the process, he helped the Crenshaw brand, he helped the
Mm-hmm.
NBW brand, and he helped
Mm-hmm.
the Block brand. So I'm
Okay.
going to give him
Well,
MVP for that.
I kind of like sat back and shook my head initially, and maybe that was a little bit much because you're right. I mean, he can be your MVP,
He talked through it
but
well.
he was wrong.
Why
He
is
was
he
still
laughing? I'm giving
wrong.
him credit.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
no,
still wrong in my opinion because
yeah, I mean, he was wrong, but it's a fine line when when you're an entrepreneur and you out
of
here,
course. Hmm.
living that life where you taking these leaps and bounds and these risks. It's a
Yeah,
fine line. You have to do it, and some people, a
it
lot of them,
is.
especially when they come to artists, the biggest thing, like they're really serious about their art. You know
They
what I
are.
mean?
I
So,
said that.
so he wanted to, he did it his way, and it ended up working for him. So you
It
gotta
did.
give him credit for that, even though he was, principally by principles he was wrong, but you gotta give
Yeah,
it to him that
of
it
course.
worked out for everybody.
I agree with you, Rav. I agree with you. That I mean, what you said was actually absolutely factual. I'm not going to take that away. My problem with him being the MVP of you, which is fine, was that by him going down with the ship, he wasn't the only person on the ship. You know what I mean? Like Issa was on that ship, and
Mhm.
Issa is the one that threw him the life jacket and brought him on the boat, and then he want to take over the boat. So I thought that was wrong. I know that's what you got to do sometimes. You got to
You
take
gotta take the
big
knee,
risks, big
man.
rewards.
Yep.
But I just felt like he was wrong in this case. But again, if you flip the coin, then you're absolutely right. That's what he had to do. So fellowship is, you know what? In our MVP segment, that was a good debate. Ken didn't say too much, but he kind of agreed with both of us. So he was kind of in the middle also.
I didn't
So
agree with you. I didn't agree
oh,
with you. Yeah.
okay,
And the Chris Shaw thing, I think Rev made good points. I don't necessarily agree that he was the MVP, but I think Rev made good points. But I like you guys giving me a hard time, and you made your little be better comment.
be
Shout
better,
out to your boy LeBron, I guess.
the Grizzly.
But I still stand by what I said, man. It was a tough episode for me, and even with the little tidbits that you guys were able to pull from Chris Shaw, man, the best parts of the show were the dude snitching about the guy eating and then sitting in the corner eating his sandwich. That was funny. And then the Issa talking about the dude was funny, and the
With
girl
Molly.
talking about her roommates having coitus was funny. That's a shout out to Big Bang Theory.
So
That
you
was
basically
funny.
looking for a comedy.
I'm not though. That's the thing. Well, I'm not
This
saying
show
that
is a
those were
dramedy.
genius. I'm not saying those were genius things. I'm just saying those were the highlights of a horrible episode to me.
I see what
You
you're
know
saying.
what I think? You know what I think
see
the
what you're saying.
biggest highlight of the show was?
What?
The biggest highlight of the show were the callbacks from Molly.
Good
You
point.
know,
Good point.
I forgot to mention that in my
The
reaction.
callbacks.
But
Yeah,
the
when she was
callbacks from
thinking
Molly, man, when she was
about her
going,
past relationships.
Really?
yeah, when she was
They
going
didn't do
back,
anything for me,
back,
man.
when she was getting ready to
Reflecting.
decide that she wanted to get back to dating again. The one thing that we see that she cut her hair, and
Yep.
it's the stereotypical thing in the black community, but sometimes those stereotypes are true. When it's a symbolic thing. A lot of times, ladies, when they want to start over, they cut their hair and they start over. You see that, and then you looked at her profile of what she said previously. She was really, really stiff, like really rigid on the type of dude that she wanted at her age.
You gotta be perfection. You gotta be perfection to make her list.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then on top of that, the self-reflection piece on the callback where when they asked her, what is it like to date you? And she looked back and saw that it probably wasn't a very pleasant experience at all to date her.
Trash.
So I thought that was really poignant. And this is her looking at this after a year of self-reflection and no dating, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a very poignant part of the episode.
I
There's
forgot
probably
about
something
that
that
part.
we should have
I'm
caught that
sorry.
we missed, but that might have been the highlight of the show.
I wouldn't call it the highlight of the show. I think the
Not
whole
highlight, but I thought it was the most
a strong point for sure.
strong point of the year, the most substance,
There
the
you
most
go.
substantive thing of the show.
Yeah, that was a good point. You know, I'm a big fan of Molly. I mean, I think I said it last week. I'm a big fan of Molly, but she did some stuff that was wrong throughout the seasons, but last season for sure. But that was a good point of reflection for her. I will mention that I thought the clothes she was wearing this week's episode were kind of like baggy or puffy, and it didn't do anything for me
Yeah,
as
it's
to
you know
how she
what? It's
looked
that
this
new
episode.
fashion. It's that
Yeah.
fashion style that Beyonce kind of brought back.
Okay.
I'm not a fashion expert, but I think I kind of noticed that
Clearly.
the ladies are wearing the more baggy style. Once Beyonce brought back like that, I think it's called Ivy Park or something.
Okay.
Have you seen those little like jogging suit sets that's kind of like baggy and stuff that they've been wearing? So I think that's kind of something that got back popular again. I know it's like my students been wearing like baggy. Those girls been wearing baggier jeans lately. So I think that might be a new little fashion trend that's going on. I'm not a fan of the. Sisters, don't get mad at me. I'm not a fan of the haircut on Molly at all.
If we talk
On
about
Molly,
what
yeah.
Molly wearing,
Uh-huh.
how much sustenance was in the show itself, guys? You guys are proving my point, man. I'm not
Come
trying
on,
to
man.
be funny, man.
We just talking
Y'all keep
about
attacking
the
me.
show.
Y'all
We
keep
just talking about
attacking
the
me,
show.
man. But I'm just being
But that's
real,
one
man.
thing. But that's one thing about the culture of insecure online that, first of all, we as dudes we're really get into. But it's two things about the culture of insecure online. One thing people always talk about is the soundtrack, is the music that plays throughout the show that's really dope. I know that song that it for your MVP Ken at the end of credits. I'm gonna go look at that song because I thought that song was really dope. What that happened during MVP Ken, and also the fashion. Molly's fashion throughout the show has always been the big talking point online as well.
Yeah, I really liked her fashion. Not necessarily fashion, but the way that she the
she
clothes.
dresses
Yeah, the
because
way she picked out the clothes for herself.
I don't know if y'all watched the wind down that happened, but the costume director was on there and she said she really wanted to make a point to show that black women with good spending power spending money on those particular types of clothing. So they wanted to make a point. So it's probably I think that costume director would be very excited that Keith noticed Molly's outfit.
Okay, even though I said I didn't like it so much, but I understand it's still with publicity. Any kind of publicity is good publicity. All right, fellowship. So let me go back and Ken interrupted me, but go ahead and let us know what you thought, who your MVP was. This is Big Ham segment. So who was your MVP? Did you agree with me or did you agree with Big Ham? Or did you agree with the moral compass? Who knows? If that's your moral compass type of mentality, then more power to you, but not really. So let us know if you thought that Crenshaw was right or wrong. I thought he was. I thought he was wrong. Big Ham thought he was admirable or his MVP. So let us know what you thought. Big Ham, go ahead and close out the show, man. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into the Fellowship Hall with the Twins and Ralph. We have reviewed Insecure final season, the second episode. We're going to continue to knock this out, man, even though, we like to film at a certain time, so we sacrifice during our full-time jobs to come and do this, to try to give y'all some content and do some stuff that we really enjoy to do together. So continue to check us out with the Insecure reviews. Also coming up in 2 weeks, we'll be doing the Power Book 2 reviews as well. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on YouTube at the Fellowship Hall. Like, subscribe, become a real fellowshipper. Also, like our Facebook page, the Fellowship Hall. Follow me on Facebook at Raphael Hammond, and also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HamDog22. Until next week, fellowshippers, be blessed.
Be blessed, fellowshippers.